So, the Astral. Yeah, we're going to need to read this character mat a few times, because I've read it several times, and it's still so confusing. It's also just such poor quality. Can I get a... Let's get a better quality one. Frosthaven cards. Go here. Infuser, character details. And that's better. We can... come here. Is it this? Nope, definitely not that. This one. You have powerful actions known as infusions, which typically require the consumption of multiple elements to perform. They have both a persistent bonus and an ability you may perform each time any infusion action is performed, potentially yielding a chain reaction when you have multiple active infusions. These extra abilities can be performed in any order when triggered. Many of your abilities allow you to reduce their power in exchange for infusing elements. These exchanges are optional. Any action with the mandatory element consumption can only be performed if the elements are consumed, or you have an infusion potion. We are 11 cards, medium health pool. Let's take a look at these perks real quick. Masteries have 5 active infusion bonuses. I guess, yeah, when we only have 11 cards, that's actually a lot. That's like playing an infusion each rest cycle. That's having a lot out. But, I mean, that 5th one, you're going to get so many actions when you play it. Option B is kill at least 4 enemies but never attack. And why is this a thing? Why is this a thing? I know a scenario that I can go and do this where it gives you, like, these bombs that you can detonate by stepping on them. And so with that, I would be able to kill 4 enemies with never attacking. But also, I don't have that scenario unlocked. It's locked out. It's on the other side of the quest line, the unfettered quest line. If I had gone through the right side rather than the left side with the library. Replace a -2 with 1 -1 and 1 -1. Create all 3 elements: wind, leaf, dark. Then we get 6 remove -1s, so we get to remove the -1 that we place with our very first perk. And so we have 2 create either wind or leaves, 2 either wind or darks, and 2 either leaf or darks. And these are all 0s. Now, this reminds me of one of my least favorite characters, the Elementalist from Gloomhaven. Because the Elementalist, his deck is just full of these 0 element cards, like 0 ice, 0 fire, 0 leaf, 0 wind. And so, like, when your deck is full, you have, like, 15 zeros or something stupid like that. And so it just feels like every single time you attack, you're pulling a 0. It's also really unfortunate when you pull a modifier and it's like, it gives me ice, and I did my ice card this turn, so I don't have any use for ice. So I guess this is slightly better in that it gives us the choice of elements, right? I have no idea which elements we're going to struggle with having the most. We can get wind from Shackles, and we can get dark from Astral, so maybe leaf is what we'll be missing. But also, Deathwalker is about to retire, so I can't really rely on the dark coming from there. So I'm intrigued by this. We get to remove all of our -1s, except for one that we replace the -2 with, but we get all of the elements out of it, so that sounds pretty worth it. I am just afraid, though, that with 6 zeros in the deck, and then you start with 6 zeros as well, looks like we get to take out 4 of them. So we will have 8 zeros in the deck when the deck is the best it can possibly be. And that's pretty underwhelming. Pretty underwhelming. We'll have 2 extra +2s. And yeah, we really need those +2s. We'll definitely need these rolling +1s. But it's only +1 for each pair of active infusions. And I don't know how frequently I'm going to have 4 active infusions. So most of the time, this might even just be a +0 rolling. And then when I can get, maybe in the second rest cycle on, it'll be a +1. So the attack modifier deck doesn't seem like it's going to be too good. Replace 1/0 with 3. Move 1 waning element to strong rolling. That's pretty nice. That is pretty nice. We can ignore negative scenario effects. We can ignore negative item effects for a double check mark. Whenever you become exhausted, keep all your active bonuses in play, so your infusions stay up, with your summon acting on initiative 99 each round. Okay, we only have 2 summons, and from what I remember, they don't seem like the absolute greatest. I don't know. Whenever you short rest, you may consume any element to recover one spent hand or two-handed item. So we can short rest, but we get the long rest effect from our hand slot by consuming any element. Once each scenario during order of initiative, after all ability cards have been revealed, create any element. That is really nice. Let's go back here. And let's look at these cards, right? So we're going to get to start with 3 perks. I am going to start at level 1, not at level 3. We're prosperity 6, and so it should be 6 times 10 is 60 plus 20 is 80, I believe is the formula. We'll double check that. So first card, we get our first infusion. The top is shield 2, make it shield 1 to create leaf and gain an XP. At 23 speed, though, that's a pretty bad speed to be getting a shield. So you know this is a Frosthaven class because it looks like we want boots of speed. When this, and then the bottom, an infusion, it needs the leaf, so we set leaf with the top, so maybe we'll want a stamina potion, because I bet that's going to be a theme with all the infusions. They set the element that they require with either their top or bottom, and then they need it for the infusion on the other side, so I think a stamina potion is probably going to be really good here. It needs leaf and any other element, which at least with the party I have right now, that'll be easy to do. I won't look at it right now, but the next class I'm going to be adding is the Prism. I'm not sure if that class does any elements. I literally can't remember if it does any elements at all or not. So this infusion gives us a permanent bonus of Retaliate 1, Range 2, which is nice. We get permanent Retaliate, but we lose our Shield 2 card. So that's a bit of anti-synergy there, which, you know, Frosthaven cards love to do that. Like, they love, the bottoms always go really well with the tops. When this infusion or any other infusion is played, heal 3 self. That's pretty good, but I don't know, that doesn't seem like it's like a, I mean, I probably want to keep the shield 2 top, especially because, like, you know, early on as my low level character, it's not going to be dealing as much damage, which means that tanking will be very valuable, and I could take double checks to start with tank items, which would be really effective. And then maybe if I have those tank items, maybe then I do want this Retaliate. It is only Retaliate 1, though. Next infusion, Caress of Night. Dark and any other element to add wound and muddle to all melee attacks. That's pretty good. When this infusion or any other infusion is played, strengthen self. So a little sad because it's a strengthen self top. When you play it initially, it's a strengthen self top, but you don't get to attack because it's your top, and it has a bottom attack. But this bottom attack is a bottom attack create dark, which means with this leaf one, you can always shield and get the element. But with Caress of Night, you have to be able to attack something to get the dark. So it's going to be a lot harder to get that dark than it is going to be to get this leaf, because there has to already be something next to you if you're not going to be moving. So that seems difficult to play, especially at 87 speed. I think if you have a bottom attack, if you're going to like try to burst something and kill it with a bottom attack and a top attack, you want to go fast. If you're going slow, that means that you have to let the monsters come up to you and melee you, and like, what if they play a standstill card that turn? Or what if they're a guard and they play a ranged attack instead of one of their other normally melee attacks? So kind of seems a little bit hard to get this set up, but the top does seem really nice to be able to get. I mean, if you play this in the first rest cycle and you play 3 more infusions in the rest of the scenario, it's going to be like 8 turns of strengthen that you get out of this infusion with wound and muddle on all of your attacks on a 9-card class. So that's pretty good. Formless Blade Storm. Attack 3, pierce 2 in a straight line, hitting 3 hexes in front of you. Teleport to any unoccupied hex adjacent to the furthest enemy targeted by the attack. Create either wind or dark. And 1 XP. I don't know how important that create wind or dark is. So I would imagine the class is going to have some pretty good loss attacks, and it's going to have some pretty good infusions. And like probably the two styles you'll want to play are, you'll want like all of your losses to be infusions so that you can get large chains of infusions, because when you play that 4th infusion, you get the heal 3 self, you get the strengthen self. I'm pretty sure there's an infusion we get that lets us do an attack. And so like you play that 4th infusion and then you get to chain all of those things back to back. And so that's one way you can play, is going like mass infusions. Another way is probably just to like play this Caress of Night really early and then like no more infusions, but you can use some of your good loss attacks like this. Because you've got 11 cards, you can probably play 3 losses in a scenario. I'm not sure if that card really cuts, like makes the cut though. It is an attack and move top, and if it's an attack 3, pierce 2 into 3 targets with wound, it's not bad, but it's, I mean, it's dealing very little to like, to 30 health monsters that I'm facing. Doing very little for a loss. Bottom is move 2, pull 2, range 3, make it pull 1, range 2 to consume wind. But that's probably going to be okay to reduce the range on it. We still have to pull something in order to get the wind. So it's not as easy as this leaf is. But to be able to move 2 and pull at range 2, that just means something needs to be within 4 range of you. And that seems really easy to do, because I think we're mostly melee. We see like melee shielding, we see a bottom attack, we see a top attack. We're almost entirely melee, so we should be in range 4 of an enemy. So it shouldn't be too hard to get that wind. It just means that we can't use this to get wind in between rooms. The only element we've seen so far we can get in between rooms is this leaf. And so Emerald Edge, we need to consume 2 elements to get this. Now, if we were next to an enemy, we could shield 1 and attack for 2 with Caress of Night and Bounty of the Earth, and that would get our 2 elements. But also, these are 2 infusions, and we're probably wanting to play the infusions early. So that's a little bit, makes it hard to get those elements then. If we do have the elements, we get an attack 5 ward. So this is like almost the strength of a level 1 lost card, but it's not lost, it just takes elements, which I think is really, really cool. And it looks like this next card is the same way. Attack 4, hitting 2 targets with push, but it takes 2 elements. So it's just really expensive to get these elements out. Both of these consume leaf with their top and set leaf with their bottom. So probably the only way to make them work is to play 1 turn, to play this heal, and it would just be a heal 2, target 1 in range 2. So, but you can just heal yourself always to get the leaf. And then you would need wind with your top, which we haven't seen one of those yet except for this loss. But if you get wind with your top, then you could torrential cleave. And if this is an attack 4, push 2 with wound and muddle, that's pretty good. That's definitely worth playing 2 elements. So both of those seem really good. Disarm a target in range 4 or range 2 for dark. And once again, we probably want to be close to things, so it shouldn't be hard to be able to disarm something. Having your turn be disarm something and set your element for the next turn is really nice, because like, you know, if you're not going to get hit, then you don't mind taking that turn to set up for the next turn. And this can set time for everybody else, because like Shackles really wants to get its like losses set up, especially some of its like bottom things. So that it can reflect a lot of damage out. So I think that Shackles and Infuser are going to synergize pretty well together. I think this is sounding pretty good. This is the fastest card we've seen so far at 20. On the bottom, we have a loss. Create 4 1-hex obstacles and empty hexes within range 3. All enemies adjacent to at least 2 of the created obstacles suffer 2. So this is basically just Cragheart's level 4 card, but it's a loss. And that was 81 initiative, wasn't it? I cannot remember what it's called. Rock Slide? I'm checking. Rock Slide 81 initiative. It was create 3 obstacles within range 4. Anybody adjacent to at least one of them would suffer 2. And then it would create Leaf. So this is very similar, but it's Leaf or Dark, and it's a loss, but you get 1 extra obstacle. I mean, a bottom loss that will probably prevent like 3 melee enemies from attacking in the round and cause maybe like up to 8 points of suffer damage if you can get 4 enemies with it. That's pretty good, especially if this could like pick off 2 low health enemies. I could see playing this. Having a top disarm that makes Dark for you is going to be really nice, though, I think. So, and it's our fastest card so far, so that's going to be really important. We have another top create Dark. And it's just an attack 4. So, like, even not getting the Dark out of it, just doing attack 4, wound, muddle. Enhanceable, too. Only with a +1, but it'll be a cheap enhancement. I can't remember how much +1 attack costs. Do I still have that up? I do. Is it 50? Yeah, it's 50, so it would cost 40 gold. That's not too bad. 40 gold, and then we have an attack 4 create Dark. I like that. That's definitely a spammable card. Horrible initiative. This bottom, Wind and Dark, to push 2, move 2, push 2, move 2. It's a move 4 on the bottom, which is pretty nice. The push part is maybe, possibly, potentially irrelevant. But a move 4 on bottom is decent. It'll just be hard to set that up. Okay. I like the top of this card at the very least. Boon of the Tempest. Wind and any element. The bottom is move 3, create wind. So you have to love that. The top increases all move abilities by 1. That's really nice. I don't think we haven't seen any other... Oh, Torrential Cleave here. This is another card where we reduce our movement to get an element. So if we have this Boon of the Tempest, then Torrential Cleave is a move 3 make Leaf rather than a move 2 make Leaf. So that's really nice. Oh, and if we have Boon of the Tempest, then this is a move 3 jump. Move 3 jump. So that's really nice. That's really, really nice. This means... This Boon of the Tempest means we probably don't need plus movement boots, and we don't need boots to get into difficult terrain because we'll have jump. And then I think we definitely want to play Boon of the Tempest a lot because when this infusion or any other is played, perform an attack 3. So if we play this in the first rest cycle, not only do we get an attack 3, but then we also get 2 or 3 more later in the scenario, and we can... Once we play this strengthened one, then those attack 3s will always be strengthened and will be strengthened for the turn after, which just seems insane. And you can do them in any order. These extra abilities can be performed in any order when triggered. So that sounds just so good. That sounds so, so good. I think this is like the first like mandatory infusion that we play every scenario. And I think Caress of Night is the second. And those just have such good synergy together. Getting strengthened attack 3s that wound and muddle. Yes, please. We lose our bottom attack, but that's okay. Move 3, create wind is also nice. So, yeah. But, like, I don't think there's any world in which you would want to keep the move 3, create wind when you can have +1 move to all of your other moves. That just seems too good. And then, yeah, we've got this one for moving and making wind. Don't know how important pulling things in is going to be, because we don't have a trap anymore. We don't have Snowflake to make hazardous terrain. We don't have the Meteor. Really good card. A 14. So this is our first really fast card, which is nice to see. So maybe if we have a 14, we don't need Boots of Speed. If we don't need Boots of Speed, we didn't need plus movement boots. I don't know what boots we're taking. We don't need jump boots because we have this Boon of the Tempest. We'll have to look carefully at the boots and try to figure out what we want. Attack 2, target all adjacent enemies. So this is nice because if we can hit 3 enemies, especially if we can be strengthened on it from the Caress of Night, if we can do that, which I guess means that we could strengthen ourselves by playing like this bottom infusion. So if we could do Leaf and any other element, then we could strengthen ourselves. As long as Caress of the Night is out, we would get an attack 3, and then we would get to hit all adjacent enemies for 2 with strengthen, and then that's pulling 8 modifiers. And so our odds of pulling, if we're pulling 8 modifiers, the odds of just pulling this rainbow modifier, the -1 rainbow, are really high. So I think you don't ever do the -1 damage for wind. Maybe if you're not going to be strengthened, you do it. But, like, the odds that you're going to pull a modifier that'll give you wind anyway are pretty decent if you're hitting a good number of enemies. So I really like this card. I think this sounds really, really good. Unfortunately, though, we've got so many zeros in our deck. Yeah, we just don't have very big attacks in our deck. So maybe we're not really that much of a damage-dealing class. We'll definitely be able to deal some. But we definitely have some, like, tanking elements going on with the shield and the retaliate. Also, we would get to wound all of the targets we hit with the slashing cyclone. And we would get to do the attack 3. So this would be, like, a really good power potion turn if we play Bounty of Earth bottom while we have Caress of Night and Boon of the Tempest up. We strengthen ourselves, we attack for 3. If we have a major power potion, this is an attack for 5. Then this slashing cyclone would be attack for 4. And if we're hitting 3 enemies adjacent to us, we still get strengthened attack modifiers, but probably for the most part, we're going to pull some zeros. We do have a rolling, we would have at least 2 infusions up. And so if we pull some of these rolling +1 add a damage for each pair of active things, there's some potential here to do a lot of damage. There's some potential here. The self-strengthen is really nice. Really like this card. 14 initiative. Very, very nice. Attack 3 +1 for each pair of active infusions. So, I mean, this, you just want to stack a ton of infusions. And then same thing with the bottom. And then these just sustain an element. Leaf to leaf, wind to wind. And so I can see that being really good for just buying time. You know, you pull an attack modifier on your turn that gives you, like, wind or leaf. And then the next turn you're like, well, I wasn't prepared to use it then, but I can use this rising momentum to sustain it. I don't mind playing just a move 3 or a move 4 or an attack 4. That's fine for this turn. And then with my other card, I'll play a bottom to get the other element that I need. And then all of a sudden now I have the leaf and I have another element since I sustained the rising momentum. And now I can Bounty of the Earth on the next turn. Oh, it is going to be so hard to memorize all of these cards. Just because there are 11 of them, there are so many necessary elemental combinations to remember. At least, for the most part, like Boon of the Tempest, you just need to remember wind and anything. Bounty of Earth is leaf and anything. So this one's going to be dark and anything on Caress of Night. Does that mean that that's all of our level 1 infusions? Also, I haven't seen a level 1 card that's bad yet. Stoic Vigilance, attack 2, shield 1. No elements on this, and you cannot enhance elements onto it. But it is 12 initiative, so maybe you take it because it's 12 initiative. Move 1, all enemies within range 3 that target one of your adjacent allies with an attack this round target you with that attack instead, regardless of the attack's range. So when you have the retaliate on, it's only retaliate range 2 though. And so if you're here, your ally's here, and the enemy is here, if they're melee attacking, they would be in range of the retaliate to hit you and get retaliated on. If they're any further away and doing a ranged attack into your ally, they just attack you. I don't know. It seems okay. It is a really good bottom to play with this shield 2 card. You only get to move 1, but like that could be a turn 1 card on a scenario. Move 1 and shield 2. The only problem is if you do that, you're not making any elements. So you probably, this does have a circle, which I believe circle means that you can enhance an element onto it, right? I don't know where it is, where it tells you which ones can have what. It's going to be in here somewhere. Here we go. Circle, this can receive any square enhancement sticker, which is a +1, or any element sticker, including the wild element. So how much do they cost? Are they 50 and 75? No, 100 and 150. Oh, come on. So, I mean, that's just not going to be a thing. There's no way I'm ever saving up 100 gold to get this element. So maybe I'm just not going to bring this card. Increasing the shield 1 on this, though, to make it a shield 2. Hold on. It's 80 gold, so it would cost 70. But still, 70 gold to get attack 2, shield 2 at 12 speed. That is definitely a turn. And it's 12 initiative, so probably a card I want to bring. Maybe it would be something that I would have on the cutting block. So now we're to the X cards, so only 3 cards left to look at. Imbue with life. Consume Leaf to summon the animated Claymore. It is a non-loss summon. 2 health, 3 move, 3 attack, 1 shield. That's still not very much health. I mean, an attack 3 kills this thing. And that is not very much attack. Whenever you don't have disarm, gain disarm. So you cannot attack, but the sword doesn't attack 3 for you every round. But I can't imagine it's surviving any longer than just a couple rounds. This summon is affected by all your active infusions. Does that mean that it gets to perform the infusions when you do, or does it just mean that it gets... Does it have 1 retaliate, and it adds wound and muddle to its attacks, and it adds +1 move and jump to all of its move abilities? Move 4 jump on a melee summon. It's kind of crazy. Move 4 jump with attack 3 wound. And then it would be absorbing hits for you, right? Probably not more than 1. Is there any world where I would want to wear the Warden's robes to give this thing shield 5 for an attack? Shield 5 is still just not very much. Or not shield 5, but it would be 5 effective health. It would need an attack 5 to kill it. It would be able to survive an attack 4 with the Warden's robes. And that's just not very much. With just the scenario that's randomly pulled up here, the giant block of ice. Oh, I know why I have this pulled up. I was making the thumbnail for this video, the giant block of ice video, and so I pulled it up in Xhaven to see exactly what the scenario number and title were. So that's why that page is what was open. But like, just looking at this, what difficulty are we on? Yeah, we're on monster level 6 for the level 1 character, which is just disgusting. We've got base attack 3 out of Living Bones, so they would have to pull a +2, but then they would one-shot this thing even with the Warden's robes. And then, I guess, like, once it gets one-shot, you're still disarmed for the following turn. Ugh. It dies to any retaliate, like any retaliate ever, since it's only 2 health. And so it just this doesn't seem super viable to me. Bottom is a loss, heal 7 self, reduce it by 2, 2, 2 to set your elements. So you could set all 3 with your bottom loss. I don't think I'm bringing that card. 42 initiative isn't anything special. The sword, it just doesn't get enough. Grant one of your summons or yourself attack 3, keep dark up. Bottom is a loss, move 2, make it move 1 to get any element, and then loot 2. It's a pretty decent loss, and like just having an attack 3 sustain dark is not bad. We've got another one of those, right? Yeah, we've got an attack 3 create dark, and this is an attack 3 sustain dark. 78 initiative though, and will I really have the stamina to want to play the bottom? The bottom loss would probably just be for, hey, it's the end of the scenario, let me get this loot 2 real quick. Which maybe I want that. I haven't seen a single loot card. So the only loot we have is a lost loot. So I guess we're a Gloomhaven class. A lost loot too. Crystalline Aegis. Brittle a target. Add a target for each pair of active infusions. Yes, please. Yes, please. Unfortunately, we can't enhance this in any way, but after the second rest cycle, being able to riddle 2 adjacent targets, I will take that. And then the bottom is just heal or regenerate ward self, which I think that's something that we do not mind playing basically ever. Like when we... Yeah, both halves of this card are insane, and 17 initiative. That's just really good. So only 3 infusions at level 1. So we're definitely not getting these 5 active infusions anytime soon. And then now it looks like the infusions are going to cost 2 elements rather than one of our elements and a wild element. Current and max hit point values are increased by 3. You're immune to curse. Immune to curse sounds really, really nice in certain scenarios. When you play this infusion or any other ward self, I'm not sure I'm in love with that. But increasing your max health by 3, and that would increase the sword's health by 3. So now all of a sudden, now we've got a relatively tanky summon who can retaliate and wound with every attack. So that is a viable card. Create a 1-hex obstacle in an empty hex within range 5 and immobilize everyone adjacent to it. That's nice. We get a 3-target attack for 3 or attack for 2 with push and make wind. But once again, this is another multi-target attack. So our odds of drawing one of our create elements are pretty high. So maybe you don't need to reduce the damage. Move 2, wound, move 2. I really like that. And then retaliate 1, range 2, add 1 for each pair of active things. And if you've got the other retaliate up, then this could be like retaliate 3 for a turn. Retaliate 3, sustain dark. Oh, geez. So much on this. Move 3 top, attack 3 bottom. So that's very nice to have. And then wind to dark, leaf to wind, dark to leaf. And then the bottom is different because it's wind to leaf instead of wind to dark. So wind to leaf, leaf to dark, dark to wind. That's just so confusing. So we have to get to level 4 before we even have 5 active infusions possible. And then, yeah, this is another requires 2. After an adjacent enemy attacks you, they get cursed. I like that. I like that. Oh, I really like that. So that would make us really want to go into shielding, and we haven't seen a shield infusion yet. So we might not have one. So we kind of want to do some tanking. I guess we do a lot of our tanking through ward, but ward doesn't really scale that well with retaliate, because retaliate you want to be hit multiple times in a turn, and ward you just want to be hit once. But we've got this, and we've got the level 2 infusion that ward us. And so we could be getting like 7 or 8 wards throughout a scenario that we give ourselves. So that's probably one of the ways in which we tank. We've also got a couple good heals, because this card is a heal 5, range 3. And even if you want the leaf, it's still just a heal. It's still a good heal. Still a heal 3. Ooh, and whenever you play an infusion, disarm something. Okay. We're starting to get to where that will be really, really good. The bottom is just a multi-target pull. But as long as we can pull one thing from range 2, we get 2 elements. That's pretty good. And we muddle the target we pull in. That's interesting. So we pull them in, and they'll be in range of our retaliate or something. And then we get to set... We set the 2 elements that we need for the top. So once again, it's screaming stamina potion to me. I mean, it's screaming stamina potion, it's screaming mana potion, it's screaming infusion potion. There are a lot of potions that we want here. I guess power potion isn't as insane on this class as it is on some others. Like Kelp or Coral or Blinkblade. Or Snowflake. Or Deathwalker. But how do you turn down a power potion, right? And like Frenzy Potion is pretty good, and Frenzy Potion, Power Potion have really good synergy. But like Frenzy Potion is pretty good just because we have a way to strengthen ourselves, like for free, and so then we have an insane turn with Frenzy Potion. So I do not know what potions I want to run. I mean, I want to run so many of them, which makes me think Cloak of Pockets, because it seems like Mana Potion is mandatory. Infusion Potion seems like it would be really good. Infusion Potion could also enable some like forbidden combos. Like you could do Bounty of the Earth bottom with like Torrential Cleave top if you had Leaf, Dark, and Wind, and you had the Infusion Potion, which, if you're unfamiliar, do I have it unlocked? No, I do not have the Infusion Potion unlocked. I don't know which one it is either. But basically, it just says ignore, for one of your actions this round, ignore one of the consume element effects on it. So we could ignore this leaf, we could eat dark, and then we could eat wind and a leaf, and have a really, really, really cool turn that should be impossible if it's not for the potion. So the potion enabling things like that sounds really, really good, but we need Mana Potion. I love the idea of a Frenzy Potion. All right. Like, you really want Stamina Potion. Maybe I'm wrong about Stamina Potion. We are an 11 card class, but we want to play a lot of losses. It's hard. Attack 5, targeted enemy within range 4. Make it attack 4 to get Leaf. And then disarm yourself. Interesting. So you throw your sword. It is a melee attack. So it's phrased very importantly, such that it's a melee attack. So it does get to add this wound and muddle. Have we seen any ranged attacks? I don't think we've seen any ranged attacks. Yeah, because this is a melee attack too, even though it's at range. Level 5, infusion, just Leaf for this infusion. Add regenerate to all your heal abilities. Heal to, but it has to target an ally in range 3, but it'll regenerate them. And then it's a non-loss infusion. Interesting. So you leave it up for the rest cycle, but then you bring it down when you rest. You don't have to, but you can bring it down when you rest. And then it gives you a free way every rest cycle just for the cost of a leaf to proc all of your things. So if you've got the strengthen and you've got the sword, the attack 3, then this top is consume leaf to heal an ally and give them regenerate, to strengthen yourself, and to attack for 3 with wound and muddle. The bottom, while this card is in your active area, your abilities and attack modifiers treat it as a pair of active infusions. So if you had 2 already up, then you could do a move 2, and then that attack 3 would become attack 5. I don't know which card it is. This attack 3 would become an attack 5 sustain leaf, and then if we pull any of the rolling +2s, all of a sudden this could be like attack 5 that adds 2 rolling +2s, and it becomes an attack 9, and it becomes an attack 9 create any element, or not, create one of our elements. It's a decent bottom. Most likely all it's really doing though is it's a move 2, increase the damage of one of your effects by 1 this turn. There was that Retaliate card, so we could play it with the Retaliate that went up for each pair of active infusions, and then we would get multiple ticks of the Retaliate, most likely, but then we don't have any shield on that Retaliate turn, because our bottom is this, and our top is the Retaliate card. And so having no shield when you're trying to retaliate on multiple enemies is worrying. I think you just have to take the top of it. Obsidian Spear, we would get a potentially ranged melee attack that hits up to 3 targets, but it'd be like 100, 150 or something to enhance this card. Bottom is straight up a ranged attack, so this one does not get the wound and the muddle, but it will stun something. A bottom attack force stun something is pretty nice, even if you don't get the wound. You have to pay a lot of elements for it. But then you lose this infusion, and I think you have to take this non-loss infusion. Do we get any more non-loss infusions? No. We do not get any more non-loss infusions. We really don't even have that many infusions in the first place. So, really nice to be able... Yeah, I think you have to take Gemstone Resonance. That's just way too good. I guess if you're not taking it, and you're taking this other card, that means you are not trying to play a bunch of infusions. Propulsive Tailwind. After each of your attack abilities, perform a move 2. When this infusion or another infusion is played, perform push 2 Immobilize. I guess the nice part about it is, like, you have this move 2, and you're going to get to attack because you have Boon of the Tempest up. So you play the infusion, you get to attack, you get to move 3 because of the Boon of the Tempest. You get to move 3 with jump, and then you get to push something. So you'll always make sure you're pushing the target that you want, and you push them in such a way that they won't be able to attack. So that's a pretty decent defensive infusion. And then anytime you have Leaf, you can Gemstone Resonance to do it all again. And so with this, you just get to... Oh, man. Oh, man. Getting crazy here. It's hard to conceptualize, like, how good this crazy is versus just, like, it being a thing. How many bottom infusions do we have? We've got this one. Was the level 2 card a bottom infusion? The level 2 card is a bottom infusion. Because to have a bottom infusion and be able to pair it with this top infusion to get 2 infusions in the same turn, I like it. I like it. On the other side, we get attack 2, target 3, pierce 2. You may target the same enemy multiple times with this ability. That's really cool. And it's really nice that it has the pierce on it, because, like, attack 2 without pierce is just so useless. But to be able to hit the same enemy 3 times, it means that you're very likely to... I mean, you'll always be able to get the 3 attacks off, almost always, unless you kill. And, like, do you care if you kill? Oh, but there's no range on it, so it is a melee attack. It's not bad, though. But you're going to be able to pull some elements cards. That's a tough one at level 6. Finally, we get another shield card, but it's still a top, and it's only a shield 1, +1 for each active pair. So that would go well with the bottom of the level 5 card. But, like, even if it's a... Well, shield 3 ward self is good, but if we only have 1 retaliate, is that really what we want our turn to be? Move 2, shield 3 self, ward self, and make an element. It's not bad. 10 initiative with... I don't know how I feel about this loss. I mean, it's a giant diamond of enemies not being able to walk up to you, but... Giant diamond just to wound a bunch of guys? Potentially. I can't take this card just because I have no idea how you say that word. Malachite? Malachite? I don't know. Shockwave. It's a loss 3 target stun 4. And, like, a straight line is not that hard to hit 3 targets with. And it shouldn't be that hard to position. Some rooms are not this large. Some rooms have obstacles and stuff in the way, but... Move 3, create leaf or dark, and all adjacent enemies suffer 1. That's pretty nice. We haven't seen nearly as much element creation as we've leveled up. Maybe we have. Maybe we have. That's really nice. Move 4 or 3, but also 4 if you have Boon of the Tempest. Grant an ally move 3 or 2 with wind. I like that. Shackles, I think, would really appreciate that granted movement. Untether the Shackles. So no element required to get this summon. And it has flying. It has 6 health, so it goes up to 9 with that level 2 increase health by 3. Move 3, so that's move 4 with jump again. We have flying, so we don't need to jump. Attack for 4, so it would be attack for 4 with wound. and a shield 1. Whenever you play an infusion, you may have this summon perform all abilities triggered by that infusion instead of you. Okay, so the first sword does not, the Imbue with Life does not get to perform the attack 3, which really sucks. So if you're playing this summon, that means you don't go for Boon of the Tempest, because you don't get to do the attack 3 when you play an infusion. This summon is affected by all your active infusions. Wow, move 5 with jump and make either element. Do we need move 5 with jump, though, if we're playing Boon of the Tempest? Probably not. Sounds very interesting to try to play around this summon, but then if it dies, you're kind of suffering. Negate the next damage you would suffer from a melee attack this round, and the attacker suffers 4. Yes, please. 8 speed. Yes, please. Not quite as good as a Shackles card that I think's at level 7, but it still gives us an element. Bottom is a loss. Move 2, attack 4, move 2, and like, what on earth is that pattern? Like, it's fine, but it doesn't look that hard to proc, but it's a weird pattern. I don't know how I feel about either of those. I mean, this top is really good. It just sounds bad when you say it's a worse version of a lower level Shackles card. Consume all of your elements to add +1 target to all your melee abilities, and anytime you do an infusion, bless yourself. I'll take it. And then the bottom is kind of like that loss. So it's a heal 3, target 3, range 3. Make it heal 2, target 2, range 1. But you get all of your elements non-lost. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you don't take that. But probably just for the top infusion. Let's see. Attack 6, pierce 5, 7 with wound. But we already have wound on all of our attacks. And disarm. I mean, you can't complain about an attack 7, pierce 5, disarm. Create 1 3-hex obstacle and empty hexes within range 4. All enemies adjacent to the created obstacle suffer 4 and gain stun. Create all elements. What race is she? An orchid. Once again, reading through all of the cards, still have no idea what I'm doing. I guess let's pick 2 other cards to not bring, because I think I'm not going to bring this sword. I want to get to level 5 ASAP to get that infusion. Maybe I should start at level 3, because, like, I want to play more infusions than just 3. 3 seems boring. But I should play at level 1. I think it'll be more fun to play starting at level 1. I think no to Stoic Vigilance. It's fast and it gives a shield. It'll be way better if it's enhanced to give 2 shield than 1 shield. I don't know why. Like, 2 shield is so much better than 1 shield. But I could also see a scenario where, like, this attack 2 with a wound is going to kill something, and then the shield 1 is what we need to survive for the round. But it doesn't give us any elements, and we're probably going to be really starved for elements early on. So this is a card to remember that we have. Definitely a card to remember that we have. I think I can just completely forget that the animated Claymore exists. And then we only need to find 1 more card to lose. That's the nice part about starting at level 1 is... You don't have to immediately decide 4 cards to not bring. You only have to decide 3, 4, or 5. Definitely bringing Slashing Cyclone. Definitely bringing Crystalline Aegis. Those are way too good. Definitely bringing Onyx Shards. Definitely bringing Bounty of the Earth. A Shield 2, even if we don't do any of the other stuff, is really good. This makes me kind of want Boots of Speed, because 23 speed for a Shield 2 is very slow. What card are we going to want to play this with? We don't really want to play it with the bottom of Slashing Cyclone. We could play it with the bottom of Crystalline Aegis, but we probably want to play the top of that card more. But if we're in trouble, the bottom would work. And then 17 speed is better than 23, but 17 speed still does not underspeed everything. There are quite a few cards that would undercut us, and then we wouldn't get the shield. So we've got 2 losses on bottoms that are faster than this. So, like, I think we would have to go at 23 speed a lot of the time if we're trying to get this shield too. And that's very slow. Or we're just playing a default move 2 instead of getting to attack all adjacents, and instead of getting to disarm something. That feels like a lot to be sacrificing just to get the shield 2. Rising Momentum, this is just good. I mean, early it's an attack 3, later it's an attack 4. Yeah. Boon of the Tempest, 100%. I think my main focus needs to be getting this up ASAP. So, turn 1, I could have Shackles move 4 and immobilize itself to set Wind. I could have Deathwalker like play Eclipse to set Dark, or I could use this thing to set any element and just set Boon of the Tempest. I would want to like move and make an element, so maybe I would be able to do Torrential Cleave to move 2, set Leaf, consume the Wind and the element from my other character to get an attack for 3, and then all of my moves add extra stuff to them. If we go at 83 speed too, the monsters will probably have come up closer. So like that can just be a turn 1. We get to attack and we get our thing up and we have extra movement for the whole scenario. That seems really, really good. Worst case scenario, we can do this on turn 2 by, I guess, pulling on turn 1 to get Wind. Do we have any top wins? No non-lost top wins except for the Slashing Cyclone, which I guess early would be acceptable to play, but we would want to go late if we're playing Slashing Cyclone, because we don't have any bottom move and shields. Do we have any late heavy move cards? It doesn't look like it. This Torrential Cleave could be a late move 3. I guess every card is a move 3 once we have Boon of the Tempest up. But like Slashing Cyclone, you probably want to go late with it rather than early. Well, both. It's really nice that it's at 14, because you can pair it with a slow card, or you can just go immediately. Okay, I'm liking that. So where are we? Formless Bladestorm. Do we need this just because we need the wind? Because there is not very much wind creation. There was a lot of leaf, I think. Let's sort the cards by what they can make. So this can make leaf. This sustains an element, but it doesn't create it in the first place. So it only makes it by if we draw the element from an attack modifier. So we've got a dark, a leaf, a wind. This is just to sustain an element. This makes a leaf. This is just to sustain an element, and this makes a dark. So this is our only other way to make wind. So we have a top and a bottom, we have a top and a bottom, and we have a top and a bottom. Dark will be the hardest one to make because these you have to have something in range to attack. Same thing with wind. And then the leaf is the easiest to create. So that makes me think I need to bring all 6 of these cards at least at level 1, especially because 2 of them are infusions. So maybe wind is the easiest to create. This leaf is just made by moving, though. So we probably won't play the top of Torrential Cleave very much, especially because once we have Bounty of the Earth set as an infusion, which maybe we don't want to do, it's just impossible to play the top of Torrential Cleave without randomly drawing an element. Oh, we have another make leaf here with Emerald Edge. Does that mean we have another make dark since this is an infusion? Yes, we do have another make dark with Onyx Shards. Okay, so we've got 8 cards that set elements for us. And we don't have another make wind? Okay, we've got 3 of each. I just don't know how to... So each of them has an infusion. Each of them has a creation. We've got the sustain wind, the sustain leaf, and the sustain dark. Maybe this means that I don't bring this lost loot card. It's kind of what seems like it sticks out from the pack. Boon of the Tempest has to come. Bounty of the Earth, I think, has to come. Emerald Edge has to come. That's way too good. Which means Torrential Cleave is probably how we're setting the leaf for Emerald Edge. Which means that we want the top Create Dark, which is Onyx Disarm, Onyx Shards. That's an amazing combo. Move up, immobilize some things, disarm one of them, and then next turn be able to go with this Emerald Edge, attack 5, ward self. Definitely bringing Caressive Knight. Definitely bringing Sashing Cyclone. So we can drop Flameless Blade Storm. Ooh, and Wind is probably the least useful because we don't really need this. So I think we drop the Blade Storm. Because I don't see much of use for the pull. I don't see as much use for the wind as the other elements. We need the Boon of the Tempest, but we can still set wind only with Slashing Cyclone. So while we have a Shackles, it'll be easy to get the wind. Once we set the wind for Boon of the Tempest, do we need wind for anything else? Only Torrential Cleave, but we're most likely using Torrential Cleave for the move to make leaf, because we've got this amazing move to make leaf with Onyx Shards combo to get leaf and dark so that we can Emerald Edge. And then while we're doing Emerald Edge, we're going to want to play, I don't know, maybe just something like Rising Momentum to get a big move. And hit. Or maybe Crystalline Aegis to ward ourselves. We wouldn't be able to do Bounty of the Earth for the infusion. Alright. I think we have identified that wind is the least valuable for us, which is really nice because wind is created by Shackles. And so we really do not have to focus on wind very much at all. Let's take, once during each scenario, infuse an element. Oh. She upset with me. Or is she still asleep? Crying does not necessarily mean that she's awake. Yeah, she's still asleep. Kind of. We're almost done, baby girl. We just need to pick 2 more. I could go negative item effects, because those are really good. Now, I'm going to start with this -1 and the make any element. There we go. No, make all of the elements. Yeah. That's just going to be so good when it comes out, because it completely frees up the next turn to do anything. And we remove the -2 with it. And so then maybe we want to just take out one of the -1s. And let's do the Leaf Dark one, right? Because we identified that that's the most valuable. Would be Leaf Dark. So we'll just take out this extra -1. And then we should have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. It's a start. It's a start. I kind of feel prepared to play this. A little bit. A little bit. We've identified a few combos. I think that the Onyx Shards Torrential Cleave combo is going to be really important. It's really important either fast or slow. It might even be better slow, since it's kind of low movement. But we want a Boon of the Tempest on turn 1. Or if we don't have the elements for it, we do it on turn 2. How do we set these elements to get it on turn 1? Boon of the Tempest bottom would be the easiest way. Otherwise, it's Sashing Cyclone or Wind out of Shackles. Wind out of Shackles is going to be the easiest way. Or we just use this on turn 1 to get our Boon of the Tempest set up, which makes us pretty strong early into the scenario. And then, like, is there any chance that we would want to... We probably want to play Caressive Knight as our second infusion. And so we need Dark with any element, so maybe that would be our first Torrential Cleave Onyx Shards combo. We would get to move into stuff, immobilize it, disarm one of them, and then on the next turn, we would be able to strengthen ourselves, add ward, get an attack 3, and what would we do with our bottom? Now see, we're at a point where we don't actually have a useful bottom to play here. We would love a bottom attack, but this is the bottom attack. Yeah, a bottom attack would be really nice in a situation like that. We don't really want to play one of the bottom losses unless we were playing Bounty of the Earth, which would be possible because we would have Leaf and Dark from Torrential Cleave Onyx Shards. We would just need 2 other elements from 2 other sources. So we could get Wind from Shackles. And then we would need 1 element from an enemy. Or if we set an element for something ourselves, then we would get to do 2 attacks for 3. And double strengthen ourselves. And heal ourselves for 3. Maybe it's not that amazing of a bottom. It's also very unrealistic to get to play that. Unless we draw the -1 create all elements. If we do that, the -1 create all elements, then we just need any 1 element from any other thing, and we can play double infusions. But then if we do that at level 1, we don't get any more infusion turns. So I don't think we really want to do that because we lose effectiveness from the strengthen. And if we do a double infusion turn, then, well, I guess the final infusion you always only get to do that thing once, which I think early in the character, the final infusion you play would always be this heal 3 self. We're a little bit lacking on useful bottom actions. A little bit lacking. We do not have very much element generation. We just have this leaf. We have this leaf. Is there any chance that I've left valuable bottom actions behind? Maybe I want to bring Formless Bottom for that Wind. I don't really want the bottom actions on either of these other 2 cards. But a card being at 12 speed would be a reason to play it. Alright, I gotta... Alright. This has been a very long time. I spent an hour, 20 minutes on this? Wow. Took care of the girly. Took my son to go play some soccer. Came home and took a shower. And I believe we were looking at items for the infuser. I think that's what was next. I think I'm relatively confident in the cards that I've picked. I'm just a little bit afraid that I don't really have enough bottom actions. Because the really good bottom actions that I have are these infusions, and I want to play those early. So we will just have to see what happens. I mean, maybe I'm going to want this move and pull and set Wind. Just because it'll be a good bottom action. Maybe I'll want the heal 7 self just to like heal 5 and set a singular element. I don't know. I do not know. But let's... I'm really happy to get to start with this. I don't know what item I want to go for. Maybe we'll go for potion first. And we need a mana potion. Mana potion, element potion, I think is what it's called. The first one, the standard one, is Flame Fruit Arrowvine. So would it be Flame Fruit Arrowvine Rockroot? Let's see. Do I know what this one is? Man, why do I feel like this one is the mana potion? I know I've opened to this one before in my physical playthrough. I know we found... Okay. Part of me is thinking it's not even Flame Fruit because I know in my physical playthrough, we like never had Flame Fruit. I think of Flame Fruit as by far the rarest resource because we just never had it in my physical playthrough. So that's making me think maybe it's this one. Corpse Cap, Arrowvine, Snow Thistle. I know we've got duplicates of all of those. We only have one Rockroot, so let's do that first. Arrowvine, Corpse Cap, Snow Thistle. And we've got a lot of Axe Nut we can 2-for-1. Okay, Holy Rain Potion. It's not the mana potion that I was looking for, but it's a pretty decent potion. during your turn, bless yourself and 2 adjacent allies. Which would be interesting. I don't think that that's going to be an infuser potion. Now, if I had a summon out, this would give 2 blesses to the summon. So maybe I want to run it on Deathwalker, bring out 2 shadows, and summon Deathwalkers. Oh, I've got these cards on the wrong character. Bring out Deathwalker's summon, and then go for the Holy Rain to get 2 blesses. Yeah, this is a really good item on summoning classes. Anything where you can give yourself 3 blesses immediately into your deck. That's like a really, really good item. So maybe I just take out the Holy Water and I put in the Holy Rain. But maybe I would want to give it to one of my other classes. The problem is that just neither of them can really hold any potions. And it's probably not really the best on Shackles, so I guess I'll give it to Deathwalker. When she hits level 9, she can put it on as her last potion slot. And it's not a bad potion slot for her. Minor Frenzy potion, Minor Frenzy might be better, I'm not sure. But that was not the mana potion. What else do we have a lot of? One second, my son is coughing. Okay, I was crazy, he's good. He was not coughing. But yeah, I think I'll just put this Holy Rain on instead of the Holy Water. And probably just aim to play at turn 1. And that'll be fine. And then... So I was looking at this, and probably Arrowvine, Axenut, Corpse Cap. Do I have that? Oh, that's Major Power Potion. I mean, it's a good potion, but not what I'm looking for. Alright, what would make a mana potion? Snow Thistle, Rockroot, Axenut. I guess we've got a lot of Axenut, so let's try Axenut. There we go, there we go. So Flamefruit, Axenut, Arrowvine. Okay, cool. I definitely think that's what I'm going to want, and then I'll also want an infusion potion. I guess I shouldn't look at the recipe, should I? Where is it? Major element potion. During your turn, create any 2 elements. I mean, I think that obviously just works really well, right? With this class. And so, yeah, that's the only item we're going to be able to wear there. Let's look at money items. So we should start with, is it going to be 80? It's going to be around page 45. Okay, it's in the campaign section, so it was further. We're almost there. Okay, in downtime. Here we go. After retirement. Is it going to be the next page? Creating a character. 10 times 6 plus 20 is 80. So we start with 80 gold. That's pretty good. The baby's asleep. She's just talking in her sleep. As soon as I finish this, it's probably time to feed her, but... Alright, so... we need items for Infuser. Now, what's the other thing? Kill 4 enemies but never attack. So I can kill things through retaliating on them. I can kill them through making obstacles under them and having them take a little bit of damage. But it's going to be very hard to get 4 kills without ever attacking. I can brittle to be useful. I can disarm to be useful. I can tank to be useful. So there is quite a bit that I can do without actually attacking. But then I would definitely have some downtimes if I'm never attacking. And, okay, but I would use the sword. So I don't know if I want to try this early to go for this mastery. I would love to get a double check mark to get these item effects. But I don't think that I'm really going to run this sword. Maybe it's viable, though, at level 2 once you can increase its health by 5. I don't think that I want to run it enough to grab Warden's Robes. wherever those are. When one of your summons suffers damage from an attack, the summon gains shield 2. Or the Mantle of Summoning during your turn, grant one of your summons shield 2 for the whole round. I don't think it's worth it to try to do that for my chess piece. I would much rather have just a defensive chess piece for myself. So maybe I would want to just run a Heater Shield. I could run Heater Shield, Tower Shield. There's that negative condition shield, right? That's in here. When you suffer damage from an attack, gain shield 1 and prevent any negative condition from the attack. 2 -1s added to the deck for just 2 wood and a metal. So I really, really, really want to get that. And that'll be in one hand and maybe just a Tower Shield in the other. So I don't want to spend 35 gold on that. I think I'm okay with adding a -1 to my deck for the beginning because my modifiers are going to be bad anyway, right? So that would be my 2 hand slots taken care of. Chest piece is just going to be a good piece of armor. Probably just the crafted one that blocks 3. I'm not sure if I have any other good chest pieces. This feathered cloak, but no reason to wear that because I can wear just better armor, given that I have crew chain armor and I have the negative armor perk, right? So I don't mind wearing something that'll give me -1s. If I can find them anywhere. Immediately after you're attacked by an adjacent enemy, the enemy suffers X, where X is your shield value for the attack. That would be really good. 105 and 32. 32 is going to be another one of the items in here. Of course, it's not in between 31 and 34, but what is 32? If we can find it anywhere. Oh, can we just do this? Yes, we can. It's the shell armor. It's the shell armor. Okay. So that costs wood 2, metal 2, hide to get the shell armor, and I wanted it to get that spike armor. I think that sounds really interesting because I've got that shield 2 top. I've got the permanent retaliate, and if I'm running 3 shield in hand slot items, then I can have retaliate 6 on an attack. That seems really interesting to go for. Item 32 is the shell armor that we just looked at. Item 105 is going to be a 2. Yeah, it's going to be a 2 or 3 element potion. 3 ingredient potion, and it looks like we don't have 105 yet. So it could be this one next to 104. It could be on this one, which seems to be, I mean, it's got 106, 107, 108. So I would imagine 105 is going to be over here, but 104 is over here. So what do I know, right? No idea which one that is, but I kind of like that as the chess piece. Does that give -1s? Because, like, do I want to run that on Shackles? It doesn't give -1s. So that would be interesting to run on Shackles, other than I don't have any shielding on Shackles, so maybe not. Right. Shackles really wants this new Heartstring bow. Item 85 and item 20. We'll look at that in just a second. Let's see. Nobody does light for the oak staff. Yeah, I probably just want one of those 3 armor chest pieces, if I can find it anywhere. So many items. I'm not wrong, right? That exists, a 3 armor chest piece. Have I been doing it wrong this whole time? And it's 2 armor? Maybe we should just look at the item list rather than looking at this. Is it a purchased chest piece? We've got the chain armor, which would block 3 on 3 separate attacks. But I think I like the idea of that spike armor, since I have a shield 2 top. So we've only grabbed 1 hand slot. The other hand slot we're going to craft. We need a helmet. So we could go crit helmet, because we're probably going to take some hits. It's only 20 gold. 20 plus 35, we're at 55, so we have 25 left to go. Do we want anything else as a helmet? I think I'm planning on probably tanking quite a few hits, especially early when I'm not really going to be the most effective at attacking. So, oh, but there's this circlet of elements too. That fits the class theme way better than Iron Helmet does, so I'll just hope I never get crit, right? I've got 11 cards if I have to lose one. So, we'll do that. That puts us at 60, so I've got 20 gold left to spend, which is not very much. So maybe I just take this studded leather for now, because that will help with tanking, and 20 gold is not that much to make a huge difference. I don't know what I want to do with boots. So I think that this will work. I don't think I saw anything that Ember Energy Source would be amazing on. So let's do this, and we get 1 minus 1. And then we're decked out. We're ready for the level. Let's figure out this heartstring bow. I should have everything that I need for it, and then I think it's going to be better than these. So item 20, item 85, and a wood. We'll pay the wood. Item 20 and item 85. Item 20 is this well-strung bow, which is an arrow vine, and item 7. Item 7, I think it's going to cost a wood, isn't it? Here it is. Yeah. Okay, so 1 more wood, and then 1 arrow vine. And that got us item 20, and then item 85 is going to be a potion. Power potion. Arrow vine. Axe nut. And now we have the heartstring bow, which I think will be quite good. Can I disenchant the Horn of Command? Let's see. I can sell this Wave Blade. I guess I can sell all of these to get a lot of gold. So this, I believe these just sell for 2, right? You don't actually get all of the components that go into making it. So this sells for 6, this sells for 12, this sells for 14, plus 7 is 21, plus 25 is 46. So I get 46 gold on shackles. So that's going to be 62. And that's pretty decent. 62 is quite a bit. Is there anything that I would want to enhance? I can probably take all these cards back. I have no idea what I'm doing on my boots. What do you mean scenario mat is not empty? Oh, it was trying to put out the ones that were on the table. Anything that I want to enhance on shackles. That card is not enhanceable. On top, I could increase the retaliate on Scarred Effigy, or the movement on it would also be interesting. So that's a card that I like. Let's see. The move on here is kind of eh. The heal on here would be decent-ish. It looks like it can just get an element or a +1. It can't get a bless or a strengthen, but that's okay. We could add another negative condition to this, I think. Because, yeah, diamond is a condition. That's kind of interesting to be able to add an extra negative condition onto this. Then it would pair really well with the curse card. This can just get the range increased, I believe. I believe that would be range, which wouldn't be that bad. Because, you know, if I'm trying to curse like 4 different targets, making the range 4 would actually have helped in that previous level. Nothing enhanceable there, because I'm not going to do the summon. That would be absurd. Reversal of Fate. I could make the heal a double bless. It would be half price, because it's a single target and it's a loss. There's no way that would be any good, is there? I don't know what page this is. It's like page 70. For enhancements, 77. I'll try to remember that. It's just one page before items. What does Bless cost? 75 gold. So it would be 37, and then not sure what the level penalty is. 25. So 37 minus 10 plus 15. So 42 to add a Bless. To make this double bless. But Reversal of Fate is like an end of scenario card, so adding double bless at the end of a scenario is kind of eh. Maybe Strengthen would be the play, and then I could bless Strengthen myself and go for an attack for 5. It's a consideration. What would the Retaliate cost? Retaliate's probably like 100? No, it's only 60. So I could increase that Retaliate right now. Or I might want to look at purchased items. Because potentially maybe there could be something I could purchase that could be good with my 60 gold. What else is there? Line of Transference? I don't think so. I mean, make it attack 3 would be fine, but it would cost like, what, 40 gold? Unending Torment, turn either the bottom or the top into a heal 6 is not bad. Cost on a heal is 30 gold. That's so cheap. That is super cheap. That is definitely worth looking into. Blood Ritual could increase the damage. Shared Affliction could increase the move. It's a little bit short on movement. So that doesn't sound bad. Agony of Others could increase the damage on that top. Really Wish Delayed Malady. We could like add another turn to it. That would be good. Alright, so there are definitely some things here that can be done. I could do Retaliate. I like the idea of the Retaliate, and I also like the idea of increasing these heals to make them heal 6. It's not a huge difference, but, I mean, if I'm going to be playing this bottom heal 4 times in a scenario, 20 gold to make it just a slightly better heal is pretty good. Just barely can't afford both of them, because Retaliate was 75, is that right? No, it was 60, right? So that would make it 50, so I need 70 gold to be able to get both of them. So I would have to sell something else. I think we'll do the Retaliate first. I think that sounds more interesting. So that will cost 50. And we'll go down to 12. And then, I mean, that just makes that a really good action. Move 2, Retaliate 3, and then I've got this Retaliate 3, potentially Retaliate 7. That'll work. I'm happy. I don't have the right number of cards, but that's okay. That's something we'll figure out halfway through the next scenario. Deathwalker want to do anything? 6 gold is not enough for really anything. I can sell this for 10. Let's do that before we forget. And finally, we are done here. I really I'm excited to try a level. Hopefully I'll do one tonight. Baby girl is all the way asleep now. I really need a nap. Just had a very rough night. But after a nap, I would love to play a scenario with the Infuser. I kind of want to do that one that I just unlocked as a random side scenario. My Private Empire. If I complete 3 challenges on Deathwalker, she retires. So I think what I want to do, I think I'm going to play 6 more scenarios with Deathwalker. I'm going to play My Private Empire. I'm going to play 17 and 27. So maybe I'll do 17 first, because this is a really easy scenario. This is a really easy scenario, and I can just go and get some loot. Although maybe it's going to be harder then. It's only really easy in a speed run when you've got it all mapped up and you've got teleports and stuff. And Shackles has really bad movement. Oh, Shackles sounds really bad for both of these scenarios, but Deathwalker is amazing for both of them. This first scenario, it's kind of like a puzzle one that's mostly based on movement, and then whenever you open doors, enemies spawn next to you. And so you can use Deathwalker's shadows to... the doors always lock behind you when you're not standing on the pressure switches, so you just use Deathwalker's shadows to teleport out of the room that you spawned all of the enemies in, and then there are no enemies for you to fight. So Deathwalker's insane here. Shackles doesn't have very much movement, so that would be a little bit rough. But maybe it's doable. And then 27 is like a really hard scenario where there are a bunch of objectives you have to kill everywhere on the map. So like Wave of Anguish with power potions is like amazing for a scenario like that to hit a bunch of objectives. But the objectives are going to have an insane amount of health on this difficulty. So maybe Deathwalker won't be as good as I'm thinking. I don't know how I'm going to approach that one. It's going to be really hard, and I don't necessarily see Infuser helping too much. So maybe I won't play that one. I don't know. Maybe Deathwalker will just be able to work her way front to back and just go for like a really, really, really long scenario with tons of stamina. I'm going to do My Private Empire first, and we'll just see what happens there. And then we finish Deathwalker off with a 3-scenario chain to unlock Prism, which is what will take over Deathwalker's spot. I can still build a building, so let's get that done. What can we do? Temple of the Great Oak, I haven't upgraded that yet. So let's just do that, right? I thought I had upgraded that, but maybe not. 363. Maybe that's why I hadn't upgraded it. 363. Maybe I just can't afford to upgrade anything right now. All right, I'll just not build anything right now. We'll go loot pretty heavily for a couple scenarios, so maybe I want to lower the difficulty. I don't know.